Hey everybody, it's Joel Tappin here, and we're going to take Vijayanagara for a test drive here. I've made a few modifications to the Vassal module based on some playtest feedback. Caught a couple mistakes and added a few new features, but this time I think let's show a little bit about the game. So I'm just going to go ahead and start the game by creating the deck using the Create Deck button. Takes just a second or two to generate, and now we are all ready to go. And so what we're going to do here is draw the first card. Unlike some of the coin games, you don't get to see one card into the future, but one of the objectives of the game is to make the best possible decisions, knowing what possibly could be coming up. But you don't get the analysis paralysis that can be generated when you see the existing card and you're looking one card into the future. That can really freeze people up. So I actually kind of like that you can't see that far into the future. Well, we've drawn card number 8 here. This is the Yadava Kingdom Annexed, and the first go is to the Delhi Sultanate. That's the green flag with the black vertical stripe. So the events that are going to favor Delhi are almost always going to be in the shaded portion of the event. So it says in this one, in each province adjacent to the Devagiri and or Gulbara regions or provinces, the Delhi may govern for free, ignoring location requirements, and place one troop. Now that's kind of a handy little event. Let me find where these locations are. Let's see. It said Devagiri. I think that's a town. Yeah, here it is. It's a town, and it's located right here on the map. So this would allow a govern in Devagiri or Gulbara, which is right here. So these two towns, basically, regions adjacent to these towns. Towns are situated at vertices, so any of the regions surrounding them would be would qualify for this. Govern for free. Now, what does govern do? Let's open up our play aids and explore that idea. Play aids for Delhi. Govern. I think this place, places a governor, and this will be free, so we don't have to pay the resources. If the space contains a governor, may instead place a kasbah, which is kind of like a fort. It's handy to have. It's a structure. You can only have one per province. You have a limited number of these in your availability, but it's cool because when you get into an attack situation, troops located in a province with a kasbah can participate in a battle in an adjoining or adjacent province. So that's kind of a handy thing to have. So I can govern for free, it says, and I can do so where? In each province, I may govern for free, ignoring location requirements, and place one troop. That sounds like a pretty good deal. The location is tributaries, controlled provinces, Mongol invasion regions, or Delhi. I think I like this idea, because I can instead, if it already contains a governor, instead place a kasbah and or remove up to 2 obedient units. I won't be able to do that because I don't have any governors there. I do here. I could place a kasbah up here in Malwa. I think I'm going to go ahead and do this. So let's just go ahead and mark these areas so I can remember which ones I'm using. We're going to govern in each of these areas. By the way, if I make mistakes in this, I'm fairly new to the game, so don't take it too seriously. But we're going to go ahead and govern in all these areas. Now, I only have I have 4 governors available. So there's going to be some availability issues, but the event also stipulates I can place one troop in each of these. So even if I can't put a governor in all of these, I can definitely place a troop in all of them. So this one here, I'm going to go ahead and delete the pawn just to show I'm done with it, and I'm going to place a kasbah, because I already have a governor there. I'll place a kasbah in that region. We'll go ahead and definitely want to put a governor here, which is control 2. And put a governor. How many governors left? 3 left. Yeah, I can get a governor in each of them. Actually, I will be able to do this to its. That's a really good opening event, I think, for a Delhi Sultanate. And then we got to place a troop in each of these too. So let me go ahead and do that. Am I going to run out? 7? No, I'm not. You can never have too many troops, because believe me, that when the Mongols start messing with you, you're going to run out of troops faster than you can believe. So let me check my chat log, make sure. Did I do it in Maharashtra? Yes, I did. Governor. I don't think I put a troop in Maharashtra. So let me go ahead and do that. Or did I? I did. My bad. Let's put him back. Okay. We'll go ahead and clear all the pawns out of here. Delete the pawns. And yeah, that's good. So we're going to go ahead and mark that down as having taken the event. The event does not allow me to stay eligible. So if you right-click on the pawns in the event space, now it won't work in any other space. If you try to right-click there, nothing happens. But in this space, if you right-click, it allows you to stay eligible, and that just means the pawn will fly back here when you use the adjust eligibility button. We're not going to engage that now. So the next go goes to the Bahmani kingdom. And they can now do commands and decrees, and then that's probably a good thing for them to go ahead and start doing, and raising some funds, maybe build a fort. I think we're going to go ahead and do that. So let's open up our play aids and look at the Bahmani. We need troops. We got 6 available emirs, and so let's go ahead. I think we should go ahead and get some of those going, and then either trade or build a fort. So the rally allows you to place 1 emir, +1 if in Maharashtra, +1 if control. We're not going to have control right now because everything is tributary. So basically 1 per location with 6 available. We definitely place 2 in Maharashtra, which I think is a good play. I like to get troops out here, calling them troops, they're really emirs. I like to get them out here early and often. Set up the opportunity for rebellions later on. We can't really rebel yet. So I'm just going to mark where I want to do this. And let me, you know what? I think what I'll do is I'm going to keep this really light. Let me go ahead. If I trade, if I rally in all of them and then trade, I basically just get my money back. If I rally one and then trade in a bunch of them, I can build up a resource pool. And but then I don't. The problem is I don't get any cavalry out of that. It might be better to build a fort this time and set up for a trade down the road after doing maybe a little bit of marching. So I think what I'll go ahead and do is build there, build here. They'll bring me down. It's 3 resources. They'll bring me down to a 3. I don't want to go any lower than that. And we'll go from there. So we will go ahead and build a emir for control 4. Doom. Actually, I should get 2 in Maharashtra because it's kind of like your home province. So you get a little special advantage there, just like the Vijayanagara gets +1 in Karnataka. So yeah, that's going to be good. And then let's build a fort. And it's tempting to put the fort in Maharashtra, but let's put the fort instead. Maybe 3 there. It's not enough for rebellion quite yet. Yeah, let's go ahead and build the fort here. We're going to want to get forts in other places, but let's go ahead and build the fort there. The fort's going to give us our first victory point, so we'll go ahead and march that up. We could also use the toolbar button, and we'll move our resources down 1, 2, 3, and delete the pawns. Where are they? There they are. Oops, that's the pieces. Delete pawns. Okay, and he goes in here, and we'll adjust eligibility, and we'll go ahead and draw our next event. All right, 1 card down. This we have Tagi the Elusive. Now, Yeah, this wouldn't have. I think the first event was a better event for Delhi. Well, Delhi and Bakhmania, they're not available to do anything now. It's just the Vijay faction. We're just going to call them that. The Vijay faction gets to go. So their event really doesn't help. The event really only helps the Bakhmani or the Delhi Sultanate. So I think we're going to go ahead and use this now. We have an interesting decision in front of us. We can just do maybe one thing and stay eligible. If we just do a limited command in one spot and stay eligible, that's kind of a cool idea because we don't know what's coming up. Maybe we've seen two things come up where it's Delhi Sultanate. Maybe we'll get the first go on the next card. So just explore what that might look like. Let's just do a rally in Karnataka. That'll allow us to place a number of Rajas in there. So let's look at the play aids. And the Vijay guys get to place one Raja, +1 if in Karnataka, +1 if in control, +1 with a temple. So we only get to place 2 there. But let's go ahead, let's just go ahead and do that. Just see what happens with this. I'm just going to play this cautious. I'll place 2 Rajas. That's control 6. I can't remember my own controls in this module. All right, that's all we're going to do. Now, we can't rebel as long as the Khalji dynasty is in play. The dynasty will change once the first succession card comes out. Think of them like as the propaganda cards, if you will, in other coin games. So, and again, this is not a coin game, but it's like them. If you're familiar with coin, it's kind of like that. Stacked in this deck at intervals are succession cards, and this thing you'll get flipped over, and then you'll be able to do rebellions and remove tributary. But you want to set things up to make it very easy for you to rebel, which is to say you want to have more of your guys, you want to be able to control that territory if the tributary marker were removed. And so that's why I want to, build up a number of Rajas, a number of Emirs, and get ready for that. So we'll go ahead and adjust eligibility. Now everybody's eligible. We'll draw another event. Hey, you know what? That was a good play because now we have our first go. This is a good event for us. Vijay gets to go first. As you can see from the flag up at the top of the card, Vijay gets to go first. And we're going to get +1 to influence. They may build, and then in each province with a temple may replace a unit with a Raja. I like that. This is good. So this is a good event. We're going to go ahead and take that event. And it's not going to allow us to stay eligible, but it is going to give us influence. So we're going to go ahead and send those to our pool, increase the influence by 1. That's going to increase our victory by 1. And then we're going to build, it says. And build allows you just to, let me open up the play aid so you can see it. Build allows you to put a temple into a province with a Raja. Don't have to have control. It can be tributary or not. It can be a rebellion or not. You just get to build a temple. And I want to build it in here because when I build the temple in this area, it's going to allow me to replace a unit with a Raja. Let's get rid of the governor. We're going to turn that governor back to where he came from, and we're going to build instead replace him with a Raja from our available forces. By the way, whenever your influence goes up, these Rajas or Emirs that are stacked in these spaces, you'll see the space has a slot for two of those hexagonal pieces. And so as this moves up, those go into available. If this slides backwards, then they got to come either out of available or they got to come off the map from somewhere to fill those 2 spots. And so this is kind of a dynamic situation that's going to fluctuate during gameplay. All right, so that was a pretty good event for us, and the temple also allows us to increase the victory. So those of you who are already typing into the message bar on YouTube can just hang on. We haven't gotten to it yet. A lot of people that just really live for pointing out mistakes. Okay, I think that's all we get to do with that. So now it is the turn of the Delhi Sultanate, and this is a good time to do a command and decree. They're going to need all the resources they can get. As soon as the Mongols start showing up, it's going to chew up their forces. So one of the things I like to do is get as many troops onto the board as fast as possible and build up resources, because the Mongols are going to strip you of resources massively, And as you lose your tributary provinces, you no longer have the resources to build up your treasury. So all of that to say, if we go into the play aids and look at the options available to us, we're not threatened by anything directly because there's no there's no rebellions going on. We haven't lost control of anything at this point, but we do want to build up our army. So I think now would be a good time to conscript in just in Delhi. So I'll right click here and put a tan marker, and we're going to go ahead and conscript there. In Delhi, you get to place up to 5 troops. So we're going to go ahead and that'll bring out that'll empty our available forces. So that builds up a huge supply of troops, and we'll reduce our resources by 1. That's a very economic way to build up your forces. And then campaign's a really cool decree. Allows you to gather and redistribute your troops over the course of 4 spaces. You can pick up and drop off along 4 contiguous spaces, which is how you're going to get guys into the mountain passes in the Punjab. It would be nice to do that ahead of any Mongol invasion, but at this point, I think we want to collect tribute instead. So we're going to gain resources equal to half the tributary prosperity rounded down, and we get 2 cavalry markers. I think that's the better decision to make at this stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and collect my cavalry for right now, and we'll send those up to Delhi. And then we've got a total of 18 victory points right now, which is the tributary value of all the provinces. So 18 divided by 2 is 9, so we're going to increase this by 9 resources. We're at 11. That'll bring us up to 20. I'm just going to drop it right there. All right, that gives us a really good war chest for the future. We won't, as the game progresses and the Mongols start to really arrive, we're not going to be able to take this particular decree with the kind of ability that we have at the beginning of the game. So I'd like to take that early if at all possible. And there we go. So that will end the card play, leaving Bakhmani available, and we'll draw our next card. Good card for them, Center of High Culture, is an event that allows you to stay eligible. You get +1 influence for each province containing at least one of the Bakhmani pieces and one. So you have both a Vijay and Bakhmani piece, and there isn't one right now. We don't. There's been no cross mingling between the Bakhmani kingdom and the Vijayanagara empire. So the yellow dudes and the green dudes, if they were mixed together, that would have really helped Bakhmani out, but we don't have that. So maybe a good play now is to go ahead and do what I'd wanted to do before. Let's do a command and decree, which is going to leave us ineligible in the next play, but it's going to allow us to set up that cross-pollination and do a couple things, as well as collect some tribute. So we're going to use it's going to be trade, really, is what it's called. We're going to trade to gain some resources, but we're not going to do the decree until after we have migrated. We're going to pay 1 resource, move in up to 3 emirs from any adjacent provinces. If the location is tributary, moving emirs to obedient. Right now, everybody is obedient, so we don't need to worry about that. In only one of the locations, if any emir moves into a province with a Vijay piece, the Bakhmani may spend 1 resource to increase their influence by 1 and reduce that of Vijay by 1. So basically, you flip-flop the influence track, and they're also the victory track. I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to migrate some guys into maybe Andhra. Let's maybe move some guys into here, up to 3 it says I can take in there. So let's move in 1. Just want to move a couple of them in here. Just enough to make it hard for Vijay to get control of this particular province. So just enough to be, just be there. And I think I'm also going to move up here. Just going to cost a resource. And that's going to move. Let's see, I want to bring up 2 of them. No, I'm just going to bring 1, and I'll show you why maybe on my next go. Because if I build a fort there, then I'll have enough to control it. I could actually rebel and build a fort and control that, and then set up to get, I can eject these guys a little bit later. Delhi's going to have more than enough on their plate. They're going to have bigger fish to fry than the Bahmani kingdom shortly. At least that's what I'm hoping. So that's going to cost 2 resources, bringing us down to just 1 resource. I'm going to spend that last resource to flip-flop this thing. So they lose 2. Put this back here. They lose 2 of their available Rajas as a result of that. They also lose a victory point, and we gain a victory point. Next, we're going to go ahead and we are going to trade. So there, everywhere where we have a Bahmani kingdom piece. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Let me cross-check this, make sure I'm doing that correctly. Yep, number of provinces with that piece, so 5. So we're going to get 5 resources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're also going to get a cavalry, so Control B puts it over in my available. And that's going to help us when battles begin, and we're going to have some battles. So we'll get rid of those, adjust eligibility, and draw our next event. Oh, Mongol invasion. Now, when Mongol invasion happens, whoever it says on the card gets to decide how to handle the card. So the Vijay flag is depicted, so Vijay must carry out 2 Mongol commands. They may also take part of compromising gifts if they have enough influence. They can sacrifice influence to either gain resources and cavalry or not. So I think what we're going to go ahead and do is just, well, they have 0 influence, so we're not going to be able to do anything there with that. So what we're going to go ahead and do is do the Mongol invasion. So that's on your play aids as well. Open up the play aids to Mongol invaders panel. And you can choose 2, possibly the same one twice. Let's go ahead and amass. Amass allows you to place 3 Mongol invaders from available into the mountain passes. So let's click on the mountain passes. And Mongols is a control 9. So we're going to put 1, 2, 3 in there. Now, when you amass, I could amass twice, place 3 Mongol invaders from available into the mountain passes. Move any invaders in mountain passes beyond 4 into the Punjab. So basically, I put another 3 in there. That would give us 6. Now I'm going to take 2 of those 6 and move them down into the Punjab. So it starts to spill down towards Delhi is what's going to happen. But I think I'm going to go ahead and instead do an attack and plunder with the second action. And so in one space with an invader, the Mongols attack, and then they plunder. So we're going to do basically a battle. And I didn't put this in the module. I probably should, but there is a Mongol invaders cavalry. It's a notional cavalry piece that's always available to the Mongols. So the attacker always rolls 4 dice, and then you compare your die rolls, each of the die rolls, with the number of cubes or friendly units in that particular space. So we have 3 Mongols to 2 of the Delhi conscripts and troops. So let's go ahead and roll our 4 dice for the attacker. And we have a 3, a 5, a 1, and a 6. All right, you can use your cavalry to take one of the dice and reduce the value by 1, thus making it a hit. That's not going to help us here for the Mongols, because if they rolled a 4, then we could have made that into a 3, which would have been a hit. So we score 2 hits, and that's all we're going to get. The cavalry wouldn't really be useful. And again, they never don't have the cavalry, and they always use it to charge. So, and that's how you use a charge, is you reduce one of your die roll values. Defender always rolls 2 dice, and again, the number of dice has nothing to do with the number of cubes. You always roll 4 for the attacker, 2 for the defender. You'll roll 3 for the attacker in only 2 circumstances: if the battle's taking place in Delhi or into a space that has a fort, a Bahmani fort. Not a temple, not the Kasbah, only forts, but in a space with a fort or Delhi, you only roll 3 dice for the attacker. So we roll 2 for the defense, and they roll a 5 and a 2. The 2 is a hit, and if they spend a cavalry to charge, they could roost the 5 to a 4, but that still doesn't help you. So I think what we'll do instead is we'll take the cavalry marker, we'll flip him over to his screen side, and I'll zoom in here so we can see this really well. So what they're going to do is they're going to use their cavalry as a screen, and what that does is it allows you to take one of the dice away from the attacker. So but you can't remove any die roll of a 1. 1 is always a hit, and it can't be screened. So we're going to take away the 3. So the net result is both sides take 1 loss. So we're going to lose 1 Mongol and 1 Delhi, and then this returns to available. So basically, whenever you have cavalry, as the Indian factions, when you use cavalry, they're gone. They go back into the common pool, and you'll have to reobtain those. The Mongols, on the other hand, they will always have 1 available whenever they want it. That doesn't fully complete the order yet, so let's look at the rest of the text here. For each invader left in the space after the attack, if it's in the mountain passes, you lose. The Indians are going to lose 1 resource. So the Delhi faction is going to lose 2 resources, 1 for each of the Mongol cubes here. So that'll reduce them down, and that's principally the way that, if that didn't happen, Delhi's resources are so extensive, it'd be very hard for the other factions to win the game. So as the other factions, when you manage the Mongols, you want to keep in mind your ability to sap both their resources and to sap their troop strength. Because as you get Mongols down into the Punjab or into Delhi, and you do attack and plunder, the results of it are far more extensive. In the Punjab, for each Mongol left after the attack, you not only lose 1 resource, but you also have to remove 1 troop from any province in India. So that's how troops are going to get stripped out of these other areas, is as a result of the Mongol crisis up in the north. You can use this even if there's not going to be a battle. Imagine there was no Delhi troops. You can still do this simply to cost resources to the Delhi faction. So that's what's going on there. We're not going to adjust eligibility after the Mongol invasion. We're simply going to draw another card. And as can happen, we're going to have back-to-back Mongol invasions. But this time, Bahmani gets to decide what to do. And so he could decide to maybe go ahead and spend his influence. And I realized I made a mistake. Back when Bahmani traded, I should have gotten 2 cavalry. I'm going to correct that right now. For those of you that typed into the comments, I caught it. It was a little late, but I caught it. Let me explain. Let me back up a second. Over here, whenever your influence marker moves into the 1 or the 3 space, you don't get any more octagonal pieces. You don't get any cylinders here. Instead, whenever you take trade, you get 2 cavalry instead of 1. Or in this box, you get 3 cavalry instead of 1. So because their influence had popped up here before I did the decree, the trade decree, they should have gotten 2 cavalry. So we're going to go ahead and give that to Bahmani. So we caught the mistake. But they could go ahead and get more, and they could get even some more resources by sacrificing the influence. I might go ahead and make use of that. So I think what we're going to do first is amass, which is to put 1, 2, 3 Mongol cubes in the mountain passes, and then one of them is going to shift down into the Punjab because it overflows beyond 4. And then we'll go ahead and do an attack in the mountain passes. So again, it's going to be a 4 dice against 1, and a 3, 4, 5, and a 6. Basically, it's more than enough hits. Don't have to use their cavalry. Defense is going to roll 6 and a 1. They got a 1, which cannot be screened, and the Mongols never screen anyway. So, the Mongols are going to take a hit there. And now Delhi has lost the mountain passes, and they're also going to lose 3 resources. And that's the second action. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and use this influence to get Compromising gifts, if one or more may get +2. I can't remember if it's either or. I kind of think it's either or, and I don't have the rules in front of me. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull them up electronically here and see. I just want to double check that, because I kind of thought it was an either or situation. But I'm going to go ahead and adjust the victory while I'm waiting to call up Adobe and find the rules and do a search for compromising gifts. All right. Nope, I get both of them. Okay. There we go. There's your answer. And inevitably, somebody was already typing in. You get them both. You get them both. Okay. So now they are awash in cavalry. All right. Lost some influence, but we got a bunch of cavalry, and that's going to be handy. So it didn't make sense to burn a cavalry here when you're taking like 3 hits in the battle, and you can only take, I mean, one's going to clear you out of there. So it didn't make sense to use one of these to screen. Didn't make sense in that situation. So didn't lose any troops, but we got a problem now because they're starting to filter down. They're trickling down in the Punjab. Good news is there's only 2 Mongol invasions in each of the 3 segments of the game. It's going to be 4 segments of the game. So, well, 3 segments of the game, and then the last segment of the game, there's going to be 2 Timurid invasion cards, which is a little bit different. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and end that by drawing the next card. And again, eligibility is not adjusted after Mongol invasions. So Vijay gets to go first. This is a stay eligible event. Selecting faction draws a random out-of-play event card, places it face up near. This is basically like this could be lucky for you or not. You place it near your available box. Once this faction may execute the new event in place of one on a future card. The chance that what you're doing is you're giving up a chance to go right now, but for the sake of perhaps having an event that might be helpful to you, but it's one of the cards that was never seeded into the deck. Okay, it's one of the removed cards, which is why this pile of removed cards didn't self-destruct during the deck creation routine. And I think that might just be a good idea. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Let's just see what happens, and I'll mark him as stay eligible. We'll draw, drum roll please, we'll draw a card off of here, and it's a terrible card for them. Well, maybe not. They would give them influence. In Orissa, one adjacent province may free migrate, free rally, free build. Okay, well that might help them. Now in a real game, you would keep this face down, you so your opponents can't see it. In Vassal, I'm just going to tuck it down over here so it's just kind of nearby, so I remember it exists and don't forget about it. It's easy to forget about when you're playing solo at the table because you kind of set off to the side and forget that it ever was. Okay, so they're done now. Delhi gets to go. Now, what do they want to do? They want to do something. I think now might be a good time to do some battles since you have troops available. Let's clean up the mountain passes and the Punjab. So I think we're going to go ahead and command and decree, and we're going to do a 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I can't do that. Let's go ahead and just do a conscript, and I'm going to take. Leave 3 in Delhi. I'm going to take all of these guys and I'm going to march them into the Punjab, leaving 1 there, and I'm going to take the other 5 into the mountain passes. So that I should have 5 and 5 now. Yep. Okay, so that is the decree I'm using, and then I'm going to do 2 attacks. So that's going to happen here and here. And so we did our special event. If you play coin in this game, it's called decrees. We did that already. So we did the decree first and then the attacks. So Punjab, we're going to roll 4 dice, and the Mongol, anyone can roll the dice for the Mongols. And of course, we wipe them out massively, and they roll and miss, but they do have cavalry, so we'll turn that 2 into a 1. and the attacker gets to use their cavalry first. I need to put that play aid in here. I just realized I don't have the play aid for combat in here, so I'm going to go ahead and tuck that in here so that you can have that friendly reminder. I'm pretty sure the attacker has to decide first, so we can't retroactively, oh, I'm going to screen that too. No, you got to, well, I suppose I could screen the 2 so it doesn't turn into 1. Now I'll take the hit. I'll go ahead and take that hit. Use the cavalry for when it really matters. And then we'll do another, this is a battle where we might need to do that. Okay, we got 5 on 3. So again, attacker rolls the 4 dice. That's a really good roll. All 4. We're going to wipe them out of the mountain passes. That's an awesome battle. And the Mongols are going to roll, and they're going to hit us. But I can screen them out, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. I think that that's a legal play. I think as the attacker, I'm going to use that to screen away the 3 so they can't charge and turn that into a 2. Or, well, like, not that you'd want to. They have 3 cubes there. So I'm just going to I'm basically going to make that a miss and wipe them out. I think that's a good use of cavalry there. So, bye, guys. So we got 5 and 4. That should make it a little bit harder for them to attack our resources. And that's going to cost us 2 resources for those events or for those attacks. Delete the pawns, and now when we do the adjust eligibility, only Delhi's ineligible. All right, we'll finish up this segment and then we'll close the video out. So the next event comes up. It's a stay eligible event. Vijay gets to go first, and they may build. And I think that's a good play. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again. Stay eligible, and I'm going to build, which will allow me to put a temple in Karnataka. I like that. And then the Bakhmani get to take an action here. What do we want to do? Well, we're going to get cavalry equal to influence plus forts. 1 fort on the board. Shortly, see, after the zenith of the Delhi Sultanate event is resolved, this is the transitional or a succession event. After this, then rebellions are going to be possible. So now's probably a good time to expand influence, maybe let's build the last of our emirs. I don't know if I want to lose eligibility. So I've got plenty of resources right now. So I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do a limited command and just stick both of those guys up here in Maharashtra. So 4, 4. That's all we can build. And we have lots of cavalry. So the succession event isn't really going to help us all that much, but I'm going to be set up for big time rebellions across the provinces. You know what? Instead, let's just build. Oops. Let's do this instead. I'm going to build here. So that'll be my limited command, and that will cost 1 resource. And that's all we're going to do there. Delete the pawns, just eligibility, and then we're going to do the event, the zenith of the Delhi Sultanate. So, and that's this. I'm sorry, there is, I guess, an exception to the rule. You can't see 1 card in advance. You will be able to obviously see that the zenith of the transitional events don't have the same background as the rest of the cards in the game, so you will see that when those things are emerging. But the Mongols, the Timurid Empire, the other events, you won't be able to see them coming. All right, so Delhi may campaign using only Delhi and provinces, not Mongol invasion regions. All right, let's plan the route. I know there's an event that slapped me around in the game as Delhi, and that is the loss of Bengal. There's an event that will cause it to happen. There's no guarantee that event's in the game, but it's irritating when it comes out. On the other hand, we can counter the buildup of the emirs in Gujarat and Maharashtra. So I think what we'll do, let's plan the route this way. Let's go here, Delhi, to maybe Malwa, and then into Gujarat, and then into Maharashtra. Let's just make it hard on Bakhmati. They get a lot of cavalry. Let's make things maybe a little bit more difficult for them. So they have, what, 4 here? We have 3. Just deciding how much I want to take out of Delhi. I'm going to definitely take those out of Delhi. And then I probably want to leave 2 troops in Malwa. So let's bring 2 into here. And then we'll bring the rest of these guys down into Maharashtra. So they can't rebel in these areas. It's just going to make things a little more interesting against Bakhmati. The Bakhmati player is going to hate the heck out of that. That's just dirty. All right, then the next step is Bakhmati. See, everybody gets to act on these transitional succession cards. So Bakhmati gets cavalry equal to their influence plus forts, which is to say they get 1 cavalry. So they have more cavalry now than Delhi has. Delhi has 2, and now Bakhmati has 5. And then lastly, the Vijay faction gains resources equal to their influence plus temples, which is to say they get 2 influence, or resources. All right, so they are awash in money. And so, yeah, we're ready to roll into the next segment of the game. There's no adjustment to eligibility. And then from here, you would just continue to play. But hopefully this gives you a sense of what to see in the game. Now, the Tughlaq dynasty now begins, and rebellion is now a command available to the Vijayanagara and the Bakhmati factions. So these tributary markers are going to start coming off. This victory marker is going to start to plummet. These are going to start to rise as you gain control of these provinces and they lose their tributary status. The value, the prosperity of those provinces is going to add to your victory goals. So it's going to be a lot more challenging for Delhi to maintain itself. But I think Delhi's a really strong place, having ejected the Mongols so forcefully. The way the Mongols came out and they were able to eject them that quickly like that, that sets them up, I think, to be able to contest the rise of these rival kingdoms and the Vijayanagara kingdom in the far south in the Deccan. So an interesting game, and maybe we'll pick this up in another session and add this to the YouTube channel. I'm Joel Toppin. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed this look into this cool new game. It feels like coin, but I'm going to tell you, to me, it feels more like a war game than the other coin games do. It's been a lot of fun in the games that I played so far, and we're going to get this Vassal module out to you this week. We're going to put it up on the Vassal module website, so look for its availability here in the next few days, and we'll see you shortly.